huntingfishing.com. If you don't have the newsletter signed up for your computer, you can do that at huntingfishing.com. Follow the links on the news icon, pull it down, and click on the newsletter. You can sign up for Doug's handiwork every week. Doug, looks like we've got a pretty interesting newsletter. Give us a thumbnail. What have we got going on?
Okay. Well, Headliner is kind of something I saw as what they term a self-releasing fish hook. And, we had some prior conversation about this. Thought it to be interesting.
Sometimes I use those accidentally. I don't mean to, but sometimes.
Yeah, it would appear that these barbless hooks, anytime you're fishing barbless hooks, I agree with you. You've got to keep the pressure on if you want to keep that fish on, because they're going to shake it loose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and although there might be some success with the shortened hook, even still, you're fighting that fish, and frankly, it all depends on the fish. You look at a smallmouth bass and how they run. I mean, they're so aggressive on the hook.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you're going to lose that fish with a barbless. So, heads up, I guess. It's worth looking at, whether or not. Any comments?
Like anything else, there's a time and a place for it, just depending on what species you're fishing, the venue that you're in, and whether this is a catch and release fish or a catch and keep fish. The IFAS, they're in Florida, they're pushing the use of circle hooks. I get it. We use circle hooks in certain situations, both saltwater and freshwater. And, what they're touting is the circle hook doesn't use a traditional jaw jacking, is what they're calling it, hook set on the fish, rather than a sweep and retrieve and that kind of thing. That may stand true with these particular jig heads. They've got 3 on your newsletter: a standard hook with a barb, standard shank, barbless, and then they've got a shortened one. And I don't necessarily see a need for a shortened shank on a jig head. But anyway, that's not for me to determine. But anyway,
yeah,
who knows?
Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's get on to the national scene here. Up in Alaska, we have talked about this on several occasions, what's called the Pebble Mine, but the EPA proposes restrictions to block the proposed mine. This is all about discharges of dredged or filled material into the waters of the U.S. And they're putting a stop to it. Essentially, that's what the EPA is doing. Don't know the ramifications of that. You never know what that company might do in terms of coming back and getting into the courts and fighting on it. Who knows?
Living in Arizona in the Southwest, where we're, I'm going to use the term blessed with abundance of copper mines, the devastation to the environment, in view of the fact that there's EPA regulations out there for control of slag piles, wastewater discharged. We've got situations where, they're supposed to go in and beautify these things. They're not doing it. And we've got case after case after case in the Globe, Miami, Superior, Kearney area. These mines are going in and just absolutely devastating the landscape, which in my mind is a terrible thing to do, because they're degrading wildlife habitat that we hold near and dear and are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars annually to protect. I don't know that, I'm not in favor of what EPA is doing. They've got their regulations in place, and like most other bureaucratic BS, they don't enforce it. The big money gets away doing with whatever they want to do. So,
All right.
yeah, if
Yeah,
if they hold these guys accountable, I'd be shocked. But
I would too. Right.
anything's possible that defies logic under the Biden administration. I'll leave it at that.
I think the bottom line on this, Don, it always has been when we talked about is the impact it has on the salmon fishery areas.
Yeah.
That's wildlife. Okay, let's move on. In New Jersey, a new record albacore tuna was
Oh
caught
my God! I saw that. Wow.
by Matthew Florio. He has broken the state saltwater fish record by landing a 78-pound, 2.4-ounce albacore.
Oh,
I
my
couldn't
God.
get that out. Breaking the 1984 record by 3.4 ounces.
I got to tell you,
quite the
I've
fish.
caught a bazillion albacore, and this thing is absolutely just a giant. 48
Yeah.
and 3/8 inches long with a girth of 37 inches. Oh, man. What a
Yeah.
fight that must have been.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of things going across the country, not notable in terms of chatting about things that we normally talk about, but nonetheless, there's a push for special permits required now for muzzleloader muley hunters. Now, this is in Nebraska, so guys, pay
Yeah.
attention to this. And as always, a hunter or fisherman, you need to stay in line or stay on tune with your local game and fish department.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, man, go out to their website and make sure of what you can or cannot do.
Yeah,
I
I don't know why they're going to the extremes to have a special permit required for a muzzleloader. Muzzleloader seasons are quite common throughout the country. I'm going to have to read this and see what the nuances are. We've got the muzzleloader technologies increased. That the accuracy, the distance, shooting hot, flat, and having the kinetic energy to do a swift, humane kill is certainly there. Now, I'm going to have to read about this and see what the deal is.
Okay. I've seen this now for about the last 4 or 5 months regarding a frog made by Live Target that looks so doggone real and lifelike. Are you familiar with these, Don, at all? And I love surface fishing.
Oh yeah. I throw a lot of frogs. Not there's times out here in the Southwest where frogs are, definitely, it's another version of topwater, most definitely. But there's times like up at Roosevelt, up in the sticks, coming out of the Salt River, and then down in some of the confines down on the Tonto end. Fishing through the weeds and the sticks and in the grass. Yeah, it's.
I'm from the back east, and we're talking about Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, blah blah blah. These are ideal if you're on a basswater because back there weeds and lily pads are just abundant.
Oh yeah.
So it's a lot of fun playing with a lure like this, I would think. Let's see. Let's walk down.
I can tell you that they look like they'd be great in the bathtub.
Yeah, get the barb off of them, please. Okay, moving on down. In Idaho, there's a new state record. Jerry Smith of Lewiston landed a 30-inch coho salmon. So that was on November 13th, so it wasn't too long ago that occurred. So that was a nice fish, no question about it.
Wow.
Let's see. Information-wise, now in Utah, and I'm not that familiar with the Game and Fish Department as I'd like to be. I'm more so with Arizona's Game and Fish Department. But nonetheless, in Utah, they've approved a new statewide elk management plan for 2023.
Okay.
And the information's there. Click the link, and I'll take you right out to their website so you can read about this and what it is you need to know if you're going to be out elk hunting in 2023. Now, oddly enough, this was even on the news, on our local news. This woman that encountered a raccoon while trying to get in her house. This raccoon came up and just devastated her daughter, was chewing on her daughter. But this lady picked up that raccoon with one hand and just whipped it to death, basically. All right, you can see it on the screen right now. So she was, she took charge and just.
Boy, she's got him right by the nape of the neck, man. He is so caught.
Yes, she does. And you know what? Anywhere else on that raccoon, she'd have gotten bit.
Oh yeah, he'd have chewed her up.
She gets up, man. She whips him out there. Look at this. This is amazing.
Man, she punched him like a yard dart.
Yeah, look at that. That was funny. Okay, more news basically on Operation Game Thief. We see these kind of things every week. And I want to point out one in particular up in Michigan. A couple abandoned a deer farm during their divorce and starved 41 deer to death.
They need to go to jail.
Something terrifying
my opinion.
Oh,
to happen.
and
was skipping along in her
they were
driveway.
charged
She's
also
anxious to
with
see if her
cruelty
costume for
on
Halloween has
25
arrived in the
25
mail.
other
But what
animals,
is that
meaning
over there?
deer.
It's a coyote.
They got the
5-year-old
maximum
Christine has
sentence
no
of 7
idea
years
the
in prison
wild
and
Good.
a $10,000 fine.
When she
Good.
walks into the yard, the
So,
coyote
yeah.
follows her.
Yeah,
That's
if
when
you're
Christine
going to
turns
play around
and
with the Game and Fish
realizes what's
Department,
going
you're
on.
going to jail.
Christine shows
Well,
us how she
that's one of the things that,
coyote chases her
as a
around
hunter and
the
a
tree.
sportsman,
It was a really
I'd like to
alarming
see
scream.
more teeth put into the violation and the penalty for being a bad guy. Whether you poach or you being cruel to animals, there needs to be jail time. There needs to be some significant financial loss so that you don't do it again. And unfortunately, Doug, when we're talking about poaching, there's a certain class, that they do stuff. Did they make a mistake? Yeah. Okay. Is it questionable? Yes, it always is. But there's the guys out there that don't give a damn about having a hunting license. They're going to go out and poach. They're going to be breaking the law. They're going to be taking the constituency asset, a.k.a. wildlife, doing whatever they're doing. They need to be put away. We've got too many cases here that we keep watching. And these guys, you take their hunting license away from them for 5 years. Guess what? They didn't have one to begin with. Do they care? Hell no, they don't care. They're going to go. You think they're going to stop? No. You confiscate their guns. You they get their trucks, all their sporting equipment. You just confiscate everything and put them out of business. And the next time you see them out in the woods, put a bullet in their thigh.
Oh, dear. Last but not least, every week I do report on some of the legal issues that are going on with weapons, guns, etc., by the various organizations. The one we've been talking about most recently has been up in Oregon. They have a measure up there called Measure 114.
Yes.
Still, yeah, it's just been nasty. And just to remind everybody, this measure bans magazines over 10 rounds, requires a permit to purchase any firearm, requires a training course, application fee, fingerprinting, and duplicative background check to obtain the permit to purchase. Don, to compare that to what we used to do, I don't know, but this is just tightening up the noose.
I'm sure that the bad guys that are breaking the laws are really going to pay attention to the permit they have to go get a gun out of somebody's trunk at Walmart. Come on. I mean, this is just more BS coming down from the left. I mean, these guys, they need to be run out of office.
You know doggone well the criminals out there are going to definitely follow the rules.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll come kick your door down and take your 30-30. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's it. Newsletter today.
Wow. Unbelievable. Well, good job as always. You got some stuff up there. Jared there at 33rd Parallel Defense. Check him out for your handgun, ammunition, and tactical needs. And be sure to contact all of our guests, Daniel Elias, Matt Shura, Delaney Dwyer, Gary Semp. We're blessed with a lot of talent in here. So, all right. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. This is huntingfishing.com. Check out the newsletter that Doug does every week, and you can sign up for it at huntingfishing.com. Follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and we're going back to Twitter. What a shocker.